A massive granite carving of 4 U.S. presidents is situated in the Black Hills, an area considered sacred ground for the Lakota people. The Black Hills were granted to the Lakota in an 1868 treaty, a promise that the U.S. went back on in 1877 when gold was discovered on the land. The Supreme Court ruled in 1980 that the land was taken wrongfully and that the Lakota were entitled to compensation that has since grown beyond $1 billion. But the Lakota have never collected, and what they want are the Black Hills. So that, in a nutshell, is how they got to where they are now. The Black Hills was the first reservation land they were given. Their sacred land, fruitful. They could grow things there. They could live there peacefully. But as soon as gold was discovered there, they were forced to where they are now, where their land is hard as a rock when it's dry and like greasy clay when it's wet. They can't leave there because they don't have anywhere to go, and they're not equipped to deal with everyday life. We had some teenagers here in Connecticut. We brought them to Subway, and none of them knew how to order a sandwich. Sometimes I get asked, why don't they just get a job? Well, there are no jobs there. And the jobs, when they are available, are at least 40 to 50 miles away. And imagine driving 50 miles for a minimum wage job that you have to compete with 1,000 other people to get because the jobs are scarce. The Cheyenne River Sioux Tribe Reservation has an unemployment rate of 88%. They don't grow their own food because of, well, like I said about the soil, it's hard as a rock or greasy clay. How come the children get mistreated sometimes? Unfortunately, the adults have a heavy burden to bear. And sometimes alcoholism, drug abuse, diabetes, and depression are like a pandemic among Native populations. Their culture is disappearing. 20% of the population in Dewey County is food insecure, and 70% is below the SNAP threshold. So the SNAP threshold is living at or below 130% of the poverty line. And Dewey County, which makes up the eastern part of the Cheyenne River Reservation, has the second highest mortality rate in the United States. So people don't live long lives. And when they do, they're usually plagued by health concerns. The last question I get a lot is, why would a child take their life? And I've known, since I've been going out there, I've now known 3 children, age 14 and under, with the youngest being 12, who've taken their life. And that's because Native children suffer exposure to violence at rates higher than any other racial group in the United States. In South Dakota, the graduation rate for Native students is 54%, as compared to 84% overall and 90% of white students. Native American youth suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder at a rate similar to returning military personnel from Afghanistan and Iraq. And suicide in 2015 was the leading cause of death for Native girls between the ages of 10 and 14, according to the CDC, because sexual abuse is also rampant.